Hello and welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. And today I'm here at the Tamdhu Distillery. It's part of Ian MacLeod, the independent bottler. And unfortunately, for all of you who think, oh, this is a beautiful distillery, I want to go there, it doesn't have a visitor center. So it's not open to the public, so yeah, don't come here, they will not let you in. Yeah. The people here told me, yeah, the distillery is not looking so nice. I actually find the distillery pretty beautiful. So hopefully someday in the far future, it will open up to tourists as well. Yeah. The distillery was founded in 1897, so about the Victorian age, with industrial revolution going on. And so it was basically a high-tech startup back in the day. They had new equipment, they had really new designs, and the buildings were just in this revolutionary style. Now they look really, really old and really, really old style, but back in the day it was just a high-tech company. Yeah. Then in the 1940s they picked up a new business. They did maltings, big maltings with this new high-tech technology, the Saladin box. Before that, you only had malting floors where you spread out your malt and you always had to turn the malt. And the Saladin box is basically a metal box where you have rakes inside that turn the malt. So you get air into the malt and it doesn't grow any bad bacteria or fungi inside that. So this was a very, very efficient process of malting. So the distillery upped their production and they at some point reached 15,000 tons of malt per day. Unfortunately, in 2010, it was discontinued and yeah, the buildings were razed. So now the distillery gets their malt from somewhere else. Yeah. The other thing was in about the 70s, they had a bit of an expansion. Before that, they were small distillery, 2 stills, and then they expanded to 4 stills, and shortly afterwards to 4 stills. There were plans to 6 stills. There were plans to expand it to 8 stills, but they were never carried out. So it's now a fairly middle-sized 6 stills distillery here in the Speyside. And come on and let's find out how this all works out. The most important ingredients in the whiskey, the water and the malt. So let's talk about the water. Tamdhu has a water source on site below one of their buildings that is actually 120 years old. It leads down a hatch and then another hatch, and then you find the water source. And actually the people told me it's such a reliable water source. The equipment is so good. They've just been down there 10 years ago, so not many people go down there. But the water source has been here for all of the time with the distillery. And it's a good water, so why bother changing anything? Yeah. Next to me here is the malt mill that grinds down the malt. The malts used to be their own malting. Now they buy it and they have a very special malt because they want to have a malt that has 2 parts per billion. So usually you measure it in parts per million, but they go 1 times 1,000 below that. So 2 times per billion is just, imagine you have 2 or 3 grains of malty of peaty malt and you throw it in and that's it. So it's really, really infinitesimally small amount of peats that you really can't taste. Yeah, this here is then the mill. It's a Proteus mill, and with these levers here you can adjust the size of the grist that you're producing, and you can go it finer or more coarse. And that has really a big effect on the mashing and then the fermenting. But we'll have a look at that at the next stages. Behind me is the new mash tun. New mash tun, yeah, it was renovated, or a new mash tun was purchased in '72, so yeah, it's already pretty old. It's a stainless steel mash tun. It has 1 rake, a semi-lauter tun, and in 3 washings they produce 53,500 liters. The first two are to produce this wort, and the third one is just to wash out a bit of the sugars, and this water is used during the next run again because it doesn't contain enough starch and enough sugars to be of a good process. Yeah. What is very special about Tamdhu is they want to produce a clear wort, so they filter a lot out of the wort, and this is very important for their fermentation later. And what they also do is, before they fill it into their fermentation tank, is they reduce the temperature. Yeast works better at lower temperatures, so they put it through a heat exchanger, and this heat exchanger works so well so that they can take out the temperature from the wort and give it another liquid, so they don't have to use that much of heating power, and this lets the distillery run more efficient and more environmental friendly. So I'm here in the room with the wash bags. They look really cool. There are 9 pieces and they are made of Oregon pine. Yeah, they are really traditionally made from old wood, and they are pretty big, but they only fill them up to a certain level, and that is about 53,500 liters, so quite big. But why don't they fill it up to the very top? It's because they have this clear wort, and with this clear wort there's a lot of bubbling going on, and with this bubbling there comes foam, and if they wouldn't have these blades and this huge distance between the liquid level and the top, they would boil over. So with this clear wort they can produce a very, very nice wash with extreme fruity characters. So that's what the Tamdhu distillery is really looking for. They want to have that really fruity character. In the end, we look at a wash of somewhere between 8 and 9–10% alcohol, and this goes up to the wash still. So I'm here at the heart of the distillery, and if you look behind me, you see low wine still number 1 and wash still number 1. These are the oldest stills in the distillery, and this is actually where the first stills of the distillery actually stood. The low wine still is just a name, it is actually a spirit still. Behind you are the wash still and the low wine still number 2. They were introduced in '72, and if you look down the hall, you see wash still number 3 and spirit still number 3. They were the last 2 pieces to be installed in '74. There were 2 more planned, but they never got carried out. The wash still is 22,500 liters of capacity, which is quite big. Then we have the low wine still, or the spirit still, with 18,600 liters. Yeah, and every wash still have to run twice for every low wine still to run. And these numbers are just the capacity. So if you'd fill up the whole still, you'd fit in these numbers into the stills, but they don't actually fill up the stills that much. They fill it up to around here or something like that. And then you realize this is the point where the liquid is actually bubbling. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of heat, so it's actually working against the copper. So this part of the still is the part that is being used the most, and they regularly measure the thickness. Otherwise, when it becomes too thin because of wear and tear, it will actually burst and create a huge disaster. So this here, you see a welding point or a welding line where they actually just recently replaced the outside of the still because it was becoming below 2 millimeters, and that is actually a hazardous, dangerous situation. So they replaced it, and now they are thicker again, and everything is safe. Yeah, for the cutoff points, the distillery does not tell us where they have the cutoff points. It's a secret, but they come out, I don't know, something above 73, and they dilute it down to about 63.5% ABV, and this goes up to the warehouse. I'm standing here in one of the dunnage warehouses. Really great feeling, a bit cold in here. and we see a lot of big sherry casks here. That is because the Tamdhu single malt is purely matured in big sherry casks. They don't know which sherry casks they used back in the days, but they were sherry casks. But today they only want to use Oloroso sherry casks. There might be some variation in Tamdhu with American oak or European oak, but every Tamdhu single malt is matured in sherry oak. And you might find in the background, you might see some other casks in here. And that is because the Tamdhu distillery actually stores casks for other distilleries and also for blend whiskey makers. Yeah, this also explains why the distillery has so many warehouses. The distillery is a medium-sized distillery, but it has 20 warehouses, some of them racked, some of them palletized. And that's because other companies fill casks here, have the casks stored, and as they are mostly grain and blend producers, they want to have it cheap, so they palletize the warehouses, and this is the cheapest way of storing. The single malt from Tamdhu is mainly stored here in these old warehouses. Yeah, another thing that is to do with the quality, not just sherry casks, but at Tamdhu here, they only do natural color. So this is one of their signature moves to say, hey, we have such good quality wood that we only use natural color, no artificial coloring done. What they then do in the year 2019, they want to expand to actually 28 warehouses, and this winter they wanted to produce a cooperage. They want to have a cooperage here because they're really keen on their cask management. So they want to be able to repair their own cask, refurbish them, and just make them good again so they can be used again. Now we had the finished of our tour, and we're gonna have a look at a bit of the products and talk with somebody of the distillery. So stay tuned, and we're going to the interview. So I'm sitting here with Sandy McIntyre. You've been in the business for 12 years now and 4 years at Tamdhu. Thank you very much for having us here.
It's a great pleasure having people visit Tamdhu.
Yeah, what are we having today?
We've got 3 different drinks for us to share. Mm-hmm. We've got a Tamdhu New Make Spirit, straight from the stills, so effectively cleric, as we would call it as well. So it's 69.7%, so it's before it's been reduced for cask filling. We've got a Tamdhu 10-year-old. We know that we're moving in Europe and the rest of the world across to Tamdhu 12. Unfortunately, we don't have any of that stock here because we can't actually bring it up to the site here because we haven't paid duty on some of that.
Okay.
And then we've got Tamdhu Batch 3, which is a non-aged, one of our releases, which is an annual
one of
release.
the cask strength whiskies, right?
We call it batch strength. So it is a cask. It is effectively like a cask strength. However, we have actually manipulated that strength. So we've actually reduced the strength of that spirit down to a filling strength that we wanted to fill at. So it's not the cask, it's not the liquid that's come from the cask. We have actually reduced the strength down.
But it's still, what is it, 58.3 is...
58.3, yeah, so it's still a chunky whiskey. Yeah.
Still a heavy whiskey.
Well, yeah, by far.
So I'm really excited about your new make, so what are we expecting?
Tamdhu, famously fruity, so let's get tore into it. We produce a very light character. It's very fruity, it's very bright, it's bursting to get out a bottle at you. Bursting to get out the glass. Yeah. Yeah. I'm pleased you did that without even any reaction. So, it's actually still very soft on the palate as well. But in the glass here, some hints of vanilla, some pear, some apple.
A lot of pear.
Yeah.
A lot of apple.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a. Usually you get a bit of more of a green apple. This is a more of a red apple, a bit of one of these flowery ones, a bit of the drier ones. Not
it's
quite
the hint of vanilla that I get
as well. It's very, very ripe, and that hint of vanilla in the very back.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a vanilla that reminds you of baking cookies or something like that.
There's a slight sweetness to it as well. But have a taste of it. And what I do when people have a taste of Tamdhu New Make is I actually more watch their faces. Any other distillery that I've worked at, when you taste the new make, you tend to watch the person and they kind of cringe as if, oh, that was a painful experience. But when people drink Tamdhu new make, they actually enjoy it. It sounds a strange thing to say, because it's not too fiery on the back of the tongue and the throat. So have a wee taste of this and let's see what you think. I mean, 69.7. So it's strong stuff.
Strong stuff. Ooh, very sweet.
It's actually still quite smooth though. I mean,
it's smooth, yeah.
You don't get this, fiery intensity coming back up your throat into the mouth.
Fruity, oily one, but very light, definitely. But strangely, it's a bit oily and even a bit creamy. But it's really light and fruity, though.
Well, we have people asking us, can we buy this? We would like to use this as like a base for cocktails, like a schnapps, like a.
I always find that amazing that if you'd give me that straight in a blind tasting, I would go like, that's maybe a pear schnapps.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, because it's got that kind of that fruitiness to it anyway. So, but I love the way it just kind of bursts out the glass and bursts out the bottle at you.
Wow.
It's a fantastic new make, and it's a great base starting point for us to work with the sherry cask that we've got at Tamdhu. We exclusively mature in sherry casks here, so that fruitiness with the fruit from the sherry really works well in the cask and develops into the fantastic whiskies we've got.
I really like, as you told me and as I've told everybody, the one with the clear mash.
Yeah.
And all the stuff you look out for, that you get that fruity character. Really nice.
Production wise for us, it's very important. We get clear wort. That really manifests itself in the washbacks, as you saw today. I'm sure they were near coming out the top of you. Yeah,
really bubbly.
It can get quite kind of vigorous at times, and that really leads into us working the stills the way we do as well. It's not a very fast distillation, certainly not the slowest by far, but we're not rattling the stuff through the still, so we're getting this good copper contact, which allows us again to produce this light, fruity new make spirit, which again, as I say, we take through to the cask.
So I've seen a few signs and a few staves where it says Tamdhu, the can-do spirit. Why is that? What does that mean?
We're a family-owned company. We've got a great team here. There's a team of 17 of us here at the site. A lot of us actually stay on site.
Cool.
It's magic. It means that you can walk home at the end of the day after you've had a few of these. It makes it much easier.
Well, that makes it really much easier to be a distiller who can taste the product and actually not violate the law in driving home.
You're perfectly right. And I stay at the other side of the warehouse. It's fantastic for that. But one of the things that we've got is some autonomy at the site. We are, or certainly I am involved. It is my name that goes on the bottle. We have a master blender down at our head office in Broxburn. But when you see my signature on the packaging or on the bottle, unfortunately, the buck does rest with me with it. So it is me effectively authorising that. And if it means for things like the batch strength that we have here, that the master blender has to prepare a number of blends before I'm happy with it, then that's what happens. So we get on with things, we get on with the job. We know the quality of the spirit we've got in the bottle, we know the team, we know the packaging we've got. We've revised that this year so that people can see the quality of the liquid and the colour. It's all natural colour. I love the fact that in Germany, you guys, and I just wish the whole industry would adopt it, that if there is caramel added to the liquid, that has to be put on the bottle or on the packaging.
Unfortunately, if there's nothing in it, you don't write natural colour in it. I think you're allowed to.
Right.
I think you're allowed to. I think there is natural colour on the bottles in Germany, but it's not like mandatory.
I can completely understand why.
Definitely.
Certainly companies are adding colour to or adding caramel for the colour and to get consistency across the products. However, we don't need to do that at Tamdhu. What you see in the bottle has only been in a sherry cask and is only natural colour. The colour in our liquid is coming straight from the cask.
Okay, so
Shall we
let's try the 10 one.
Let's get tore in.
Oh yeah.
I love that noise for a start. Just the cork from a bottle, just...
Yeah, I love the cork noise, but I also love the noise when you have a full bottle and you start pouring to go glug, glug, glug.
Glug, 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 glug.
Yeah, that's what I really love.
This is Tamdhu 10 at 43. This is what used to be the standard core range in Europe and the rest of the world. So 43%, I think it's a fantastic dram. In comparison to what we had in the UK as the Tamdhu 10 at 40, the 43 far surpasses it.
Oh, you can already smell it from that distance.
Yeah, it's just
Very faint and
this is
very-
a mix of European and American oak casks and a mix of first fill and refill sherries.
Oh, it's darker and more dried fruity and more sherry tones than I expected.
It surprises you the complexity even for a 10-year-old whiskey.
So this is the 10-year-old. This is the full bottle, and this is just
So you can see you can see that we
If
enjoy
you-
it.
Definitely. But if you look at that little bit there, then I would have expected a much more lighter.
Yeah, from the colour from the bottom, but when you actually see the colour in the full bottle,
the full bottle, then
it's
you
just
realise
a bit richer, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's the richness. Mm.
Wee bit of butterscotch and
Yeah.
vanilla fudge is the way I get it.
There's more vanilla and caramel in it or butterscotch in it than I expected.
Which is probably more so coming from the American oak. It's got to be.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
rather than the European.
I would have because you don't use any bourbon casks. I would have expected much less.
No
but
bourbon in there at all.
It's very sweet, but there's a huge amount of fruit in it, and that nice sherry.
Yeah.
It's just that's definitely a
Enjoy.
nice sherry. Enjoy.
Cheers, Slanger.
Sludge.
It is an exceptionally easy whiskey to drink. You're still hanging on to it. I just enjoy it so much.
Yeah. Again, a little bit of oiliness, but it's much more liquid, and sweetness. Fruits.
It's rich, isn't it? It's actually
Honey,
quite rich.
butterscotch,
Yeah.
vanilla.
There's a wee bit of ripe banana in it as well. I get from time to time.
Yeah, it's this ripe fruit, but also banana. What is that? Very ripe apple. Bit.
Well, I was going to say a wee bit of apricot even at the
Apricot?
back end. Yeah. I'm coming out with another sip.
But as you said, it's really an easy one.
It's a bottle of whiskey that you pick up in an evening, during the day,
Yeah, it's
and
one of
before you know it, you're with friends, you're having good fun, you're talking, you're another one, and before you know it, you're again back at the bottle.
It's definitely an everyday dram.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely
I mean, the term that I use for it is a session whiskey.
A session whiskey.
Session whiskey. So you're having a session. A good Glaswegian Scottish word is that you're having a session. So in other words, it's basically pulling the cork, throwing the cork away. We're going to do that tonight, you know what I mean? We're having a sesh with it. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to have good crack and good chat amongst us.
Okay, so we're now in 2018, and you have been closed in 2010 to 2012.
Yeah.
Will we gonna run in the shortage of the 10 and 12-year-old in 2020, 2022?
Well, the simple answer to that is no. And I'll explain why. We are pulling the 10-year-old. The 10-year-old will no longer be available probably from the middle of next year. So that immediately removes the issue around the 10-year-old. When we bought the distillery back in 2011, 2012, we bought some of the stock here at Tamdhu. So it has very much been a piece of stock management over the last few years, and that's why we haven't had many expressions to give you. As a distillery manager, you sit here very impatient. I want a 12, I want a 15, I want a 21. And you just can't wait. It is very much, we have had to manage the stock that we purchased, and we've actually obviously been laying down stock since. So when we do come to, yes, the 2020s, the 2022s, 2024s, it will be older stock you'll get in the bottle, but it'll still be labelled as a 12 or a 15.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So we will still manage to supply, but it'll be slightly older stock. So there won't be a gap in that.
Okay. So how about the portfolio, the different expressions? Will we see new ones on the market? How will the portfolio expand?
It definitely will. One of the things that again, because we've had to manage the stock over the last few years, that's why we haven't done much in terms of the expansion of the range. It's why it's only now that you're starting to see a 12. We will have a 15 probably by April or May next year. So 2019 for that. We will hopefully by the end of 2019 also have we sampled a 16-year-old cask yesterday, and it was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Whether we go with an 18 and wait for an 18-year-old at the back end of next year, or I actually think we could take something a wee bit earlier, so this is my view on it, which is maybe a bold statement to make, because Tamdhu at 16 or 17 will be a cracker of dram, and I'm just wondering whether that's the right age. Is our pièce de résistance is around that age rather than even wait until an 18.
Okay, so it's still a bit vague what will come out during the next years, but we definitely will see something.
Definitely we'll see, say, the 15 start of our first quarter of 2019. We will also be doing the second release in our Dalby Alley Dram, which is one of our non-aged statement of whiskies. We do that for the Speyside Whisky Festival at the start of May every year. It was extremely successful in Dalby Alley 1. In fact, it's in for one of the awards for the Speyside Whisky Festival. It's one of the finalists for next year. We'll have the next release in our batch strength, again a non-aged whisky. Be batch strength 4. We've started to do a wee bit of work for that already. And we'll see some other single casks coming along. We did a single cask in 2018 as part of a celebration for our 120th year. And I'm putting myself out on a limb. It was the team here at Tamdhu that selected that cask, and it was the majority of the team that selected the cask. I'll be honest and say it wasn't the one that I chose. So the one that was released in 2015 was a European oak butt. Really deep and chunky whiskey. Something that you would maybe have 1 or 2 drams for and put the bottle away and come back to another time.
So very expensive, complex.
Just a very complex in terms of the taste and the palate. It knows fantastically well, but my preference tends to be more around the American oak that we work with.
Okay.
So there may very well be a release of the distillery manager selection next year, which really puts me out on a limb, because it's then, this is the one you've chosen, Sandy, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who'll compare the two, the team's choice and the manager's choice, so it could be an interesting thing to see what happens with that.
Yeah, it's going to be probably a discussion on a very high level.
Yeah.
So, but we already have the batch 3.
We do, yeah, this is it here. This is the third in the release of the Batch Strength series. Batch Strength 2 did extremely well in terms of awards that it won, really globally, but the one that we were most proud of was again the Speyside Whisky Festival in 2017. Batch Strength 3 came along. Again, we did an awful lot of work. What our master blender John prepares these, sends them up to us. If we're not happy with it, I'm sorry, John, you're going to have to do another one, and he'll send up another one to us. So we have a safe here in the office that's full of all the different samples until we get the one that we're happy with. And what we're looking for when we're doing that is ensuring it's as good as, if not better, than the release before. So it's getting harder and harder and harder for John to do this piece of work. So here we are with batch 3. It's 58.3, so it's again higher strength. So it's not, as I said, a cask strength, but it's up there with a high strength. So, and
this is much more cake.
Much more sultana, Christmas cake, much more of the sultanas and the raisins coming through this time. Much more of the influence from
malt.
Yeah, from the European side of the cask that we're using.
Oh, the raisins are deeper in. If you're further away, you get more of the sweetness.
If you get the nose right into the glass, honey. That's where you pick that.
And if you get in, you get the sultana, the raisins.
To me, it's a bit more toffee rather than the light fudge that you're getting with the 10.
Yeah, the toffee is a bit further away, but nice dram.
This is an interesting one, because I actually find initially when I started with this one, I was a couple of drops of water with it. Where I am now with it is that no, I actually prefer it just straight from the bottle.
Okay, I think I'll try them both.
No, we've certainly got the water there, so. But no, it's. Get it right round there. It's not too overpowering at that strength, though.
It is quite strong, though.
Well, it's strong, but it's not overpowering.
It's not overpowering, but it's intense. It's definitely
That's what we
telling
want
me
it to be.
I'm there.
Yeah.
And even a bit.
There's a wee bit of spiciness.
Yeah,
A wee
just
bit of
wanted to
pepper.
say that a
There's
little
wee
bit
of pepper.
of pepper spiciness. It's just more of an oomph.
Yeah.
These other ones were definitely the mild everyday drum. This is a bit more of a excitement, bit of a more bit of a kick, bit of a more of an explosion in there.
Yeah.
But no, it fades out like the others with the Christmas cake, bit of butterscotch.
You get a real hit out of this beast. You know, it's wanting to tell you I'm there.
Definitely at the beginning, explosion, and then just fades out nicely. Really.
It's actually a phenomenally good dram for you know. Again, a lot of people hang up on age. We've got our oldest cask here isn't actually our best cask. Tell it to everybody, it's still in the warehouse. So please don't always be hung up on age. There's some fantastic non-aged whiskies out there. I'm sure you'll have tried lots of them, same as everybody else.
The thing is with non-aged whiskey, you tend to not know what's in it. That's the thing. You can have a fantastic non-aged, you can have a bad non-aged.
You can, yeah, you're right. And I'm not saying that every non-aged is a fantastic whiskey by far, because there's some absolute belters out there as well. But you know what I'm pleased to say is, again, we know it's only ever been in a sherry cask, so we know it's there's not some really rubbish casks been thrown in here just to get rid of them. Natural colour again, so we're seeing, you know, the richness in the terms of the colour of this stuff here. So we know there's some really good quality whiskies in it. I haven't done it. I haven't actually had water in a batch for quite a wee while. So
Quite a malty quite a malty experience with still that spiciness and that kick in it.
To me, the water doesn't do too much to the nose for it. It doesn't really release much more into the glass for me in a nose.
It didn't change it that much.
No.
Usually when you open a whiskey, it
exactly.
completely changes. This is pretty similar to what I had before, and I didn't add that. I didn't add too little. It was good.
Just a few wee drops there.
Wow, nice.
We're on an exciting journey at Tamdhu, for sure. It's a brand that is going to stick to what we say we're going to do, and we're sticking with sherry. We've seen the importance around sherry casks. We've worked closely with our suppliers out in Spain. They're improving their quality, their measurements in terms of what they do in terms of the cask coopering side of things, and we very much are doing the same thing here at the distillery in terms of getting consistency to make sure we're getting the quality every time.
So you're now with the Ian McLeod, and your partner distillery is Glengoyne. How close are you to the guys at Glengoyne?
My manager Robbie is based down at Glengoyne.
Okay.
So Robbie used to work with Diageo as I did a number of years ago. Although we didn't work together at Diageo, coincidentally we worked at the same sites. So you know we've got a great friendship in that respect and a lot of respect for each other. We do work closely. We use the same cask supplier, certainly for our sherry casks. Glengoyne tend to use some bourbons, or far more bourbons in some of their core range than we obviously don't do any at all at Tamdhu. However, the team all know each other. Again, we have go down there for visits. We have some of them come up here, and we obviously socialise together at Christmas time, which I've got coming up my head. So,
Nice.
so yeah, we do. And actually, you know, when you talk about it, and I haven't told you this today, my partner, she works at Glengoyne.
Nice.
So you could actually say there's a very close relationship in some
There is a
respects.
close relationship, so you know all the insights.
Well, I'm not going to tell you that. But yeah,
Oh, that's
so
cool.
it's funny,
That's
I
cool.
never thought that.
That plays
till now,
together with the family
but
business.
it
huh?
certainly does, yeah.
Nice.
So I'm actually down at Glengoyne. Probably every second week, and my partner's up here every other week as well. So,
Okay,
so
nice.
it works out well.
Really-
She's
really
one of the
cool.
guys down here. And my daughter works at Glengoyne as well. She's
Okay.
a guide.
So it's a family
Yeah,
business.
so we keep it all together. So.
Yeah, it's been a great experience here. So thank you very much for having us
problem.
here. I bet for the viewers it has been also great.
I hope so.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. No, my pleasure. My
And I
pleasure
hope
to have
see
you with us today.
someday in the future. We probably will.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so because you know the brand's only going up and up and up. So
I don't
we'll
think.
see.
I think it will go really well in the future.
Slanger.
Don't you? So thank you very much for watching. If you found this video interesting, then please give us a thumbs up. And see you next time.
Thank you.